Look who just sat down.
The climber.
Look who just sat down at this dais. And, Doug, check out his boots, ladies and gentlemen, the best in the business. He's headed to Ecuador. Ryan Kelley, how do you do? And listen to this crowd.
Hello, Ryan.
I didn't anticipate this kind of ovation.
I did.
You guys do a lot of shows in a lot of places like Hot Shots, but have you ever seen an audience like this?
No,
I haven't.
Look at that.
We have not.
It's amazing
No.
here. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all to all the listeners for hearing me out as we talk about our 5th annual Climb for the Kids. 5 years now we have gone and climbed mountains to raise money for families and children battling for their lives. And this is an initiative that I first started with our CFO, April McCoy, when we went up, what was the first mountain? Mount Rainier in Washington. We had never climbed a mountain before. We had never even been at that type of altitude. And we decided we would climb a mountain the first year and raise money for children battling cancer. Friends of Kids with Cancer was our beneficiary. And we did what we thought was great training and ran and went to Castlewood and did all these great things. And then we flew out there and saw Mount Rainier for the first time. And neither one of us talked for the next 20 minutes as we drove through the forest to get to base camp. And
because you were thinking, oh, my God. And
what have we gotten ourselves into? I mean, we went to, I guess, what you would call Ground Zero base camp. And we're doing an equipment check the first year. And everybody's going around and talking about all these wonderful mountains that they had climbed in the past. And all these wonderful things, and they get to April and I, the little home loan experts over there, and they're like, "So, what have you climbed?" And we're like, "Castlewood." What's Castlewood? Like, what's the elevation? And we're like, about 500 feet. They just looked at us and shook their heads. Like the couple before us had done Denali the year before, and all this. But we did not summit the first year. I stopped 700 feet from the top. I was forced to stop at that point, which was smart.
What happened?
No
Oxygen or just your feeling?
It was everything, to be honest. I hadn't slept in it was a 3-day climb to the summit of Rainier. I hadn't slept in all 3 days.
Ugh.
The altitude was kind of messing with me. I hadn't pooped. There's that.
So now wait a minute. You say you hadn't slept in 3 days. I mean,
That's common when you climb mountains.
really?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how much must it take out of you?
On this climb right now, I'll sleep probably a total. I mean, by the time I hit the summit this year in Ecuador, I wouldn't have slept for about 38 hours.
Because you can't get to sleep, or there's just no place
There's
to
just
sleep?
no time, and you're moving so fast. And by the time you do get some downtime, you're antsy, you're nervous.
Are the other climbers who've done it before?
Oh, they're sleeping.
They're really.
Oh, yeah. They're just pop up.
Pros.
Yeah, they lay down on the ice and go to sleep, and I'm like,
Isn't it dangerous? Isn't it dangerous to keep climbing when it's pitch dark up there?
yeah, but when you do summits like these high altitude alpine summits, you have to do what they call an alpine summit. You have to go at night while the sun is not out, because when that sun does come out, and I'll be at 20,000 feet on the summit of this one, and when the sun comes out, although it will be negative 20 degrees or so up there, I mean, you've been puffies and everything else, the sun starts to melt and move things, and avalanches happen, and rocks just start falling. As the glaciers move, things happen. So you typically, when you summit a high alpine mountain, glacier active, volcano, something along those lines, you want to do that at night.
For safety.
Yeah, exactly right. You want to get up there and you want to get down before the sun
How
comes
long do you
up.
hang out once you get there?
As long as you can handle it. It's going to be hard to breathe. I usually try to make a phone call to some of our kids that we're climbing for when I'm on top of the mountain. I brought a satellite phone in the past to do so. It's an emotional time for me when we hit the summit because it's over. You know, and for me, the journey of Climb for the Kids starts months prior to the actual climb. It's talking with all the families, the hospitals, the charitable partners that we've aligned ourselves with, touring the hospitals, sitting at the kitchen tables with the families, getting to know them, and then preparing, planning, trekking, training, getting your bags packed, getting to the mountain, going through the brutal task of climbing and summiting that mountain, and then all of a sudden you're at the top, and it's over. And for me, the journey is getting to the top and meeting those families. And I can't tell you how much it means to me. I'll just be honest. All the listeners here on TMA are always my biggest supporter of our Climbs for the Kids in a whole. When you go out and you look at all the people that donate, TMA comes through like nobody else. And that's what I'm going to ask everybody to do today. It's our 5th year. It's our 5th annual Climb for the Kids. I leave on Sunday with my team. We're flying down to Ecuador. Ecuador, if you don't know, Larry Nickel, is in South America, and it's a wonderful place. And the mountain that we'll be summiting, it's actually a super volcano, is called Cotopaxi. Cotopaxi stands about 19,500 feet. It is an active volcano. Somebody died there just last week trying to summit that mountain. The 3-person rope team, one of the members fell into a crevasse. The other 2 followed them in the crevasse. 2 were airlifted out. They lived. one is still in the crevasse. So it's dangerous, and it's very difficult to train for this and to get up those mountains. But I use my motivation as the kids, and I think about these children at Cardinal Glennon Hospital down on Grand, and I think about these families that I've met over the years and continue to be part of their lives, like our good friend Alec Ingram, who has been with us since the first climb we did. And Alec Ingram is in his final hours right now, in final days as we speak. Cancer is an ugly, ugly, ugly disease, and online so often we see these pretty little bald-headed babies and their Make-A-Wish trips and everything else going on, but behind the scenes, it doesn't end pretty. It is a nightmare, and that's what Alec Ingram and his family are going through right now, doing hospice themselves in their living room with their 14-year-old boy. He's innocent. He's perfect. He's never done a thing wrong in his life. He's been battling cancer since he was 10 years old and first diagnosed, where I first met him. And I'm going to be leaving the show now to go out to Washington, Missouri, and spend a few hours with the Ingram's family. I've been kind of over there quite a bit over the last few weeks. But that's why we climb. We climb to help raise money for hospitals, continuing to try to develop new systems to try to keep these kids healthier longer, try to fight for the cure and everything else. And then we also raise money for these families. If you can imagine, you know, a lot of people might be single listening, but put yourself fast forward. You're married now. You have 2 kids. Life's great, or it's not great. It's whatever. And then all of a sudden your 10-year-old is diagnosed with cancer. I mean, it changes the game right there. Generally, one of the spouses stops working to take the child to and from doctor's appointments every day and treatments, and to live in the hospital for months at a time with their child. The other spouse is holding on to their work barely getting hours and barely doing anything. And it's just a whirlwind. And then again, the end result so often is in the living rooms with a hospital bed and air mattresses, with all the siblings sitting around wondering when their sibling or their son or daughter, you know, will finally rest in peace and stop that battle. And that's where Alec is. So let's change the theme. 5th annual Climb for the Kids, leaving for Ecuador. I go down there Sunday. We will be in Ecuador for 9 days. It will take us 9 days to summit Cotopaxi and get back down safely. A lot of that time is just climatizing. You can't just really come from 500-foot elevation to 20,000. It just won't work that way. So you get into town, you do some treks. We're doing 2 climbs before we go up for the big one, and one of them is 15,000-foot mountain, which will be the biggest summit I've ever done to date. And that's a warm-up for Cotopaxi, you know.
So wait a minute. You're going to scale a 15,000-foot
the climb will be harnessed in, rock climbing up
before you do the 20.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not even on the way up.
It's to be the biggest summit I've ever done as a warm-up to Cotopaxi. I mean, this thing is huge. I don't know if you guys have followed any of the content, but all the listeners should right away just go find Climb for the Kids on Facebook, Climb for the Kids on Insta. The website's theclimbforthekids.com or climbforthekids.com, and get an idea of just how big this mountain is that we are going up. 20,000 feet. It's no joke.
And what's the most you've done before, Ryan?
14.4 for Rainier, and then the Grand Teton we did last year was about 13.5, but that was a different monster. That was solid. That was just straight sheer rock climbing the last 2,000 feet of the Grand over in Jackson Hole. But here's the deal. It's pretty simple. We choose a mountain every year. We prepare, we train, we cover all the cost internally. We go when we climb that mountain. We ask listeners, we ask people to donate to one of the charitable partners that we've picked. 100% of your donations go straight to that organization. We cover all the costs of the climb. We pick the charitable partners, and we ask you to go review those charitable partners and find one that you like and make a tax-deductible donation. Again, 100% of your donation goes there. We have opportunities with SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Hospital. If you don't know, Cardinal Glennon Hospital, first of all, we are very, very fortunate to have it here in St. Louis. They do not turn you down based off your ability to pay. And some of the best doctors in the world work at Cardinal Glennon Hospital. And these families end up there getting cancer treatments, new diagnosis all the time. And they don't turn them down based off their ability to pay. They rely on donations from the Climb for the Kids and other events and Bob Costas event and everything else to keep that program going at Cardinal Glennon. And that's one choice that you can donate to today. Another great one is Friends of Kids with Cancer, one I was introduced to to by this show, by Tim McKernan and everybody at the Morning After when they did a toy drive 5 years ago. I fell in love with what Friends of Kids with Cancer does. They don't just take care of the patient, the child that's sick, but they also take care of their siblings. So, like, for example, we'll donate a suite to a Cardinals game to Friends of Kids with Cancer. They don't give it to the child that's battling cancer. They give it to the sophomore in high school sister who's kind of being left to the outskirts while the parents are zoning in on the sick child. And that also happens, when if you have a few children and one's diagnosed with cancer, guess where all that attention's going nonstop, as it should. But the other siblings around kind of fade off the map, and so often, bad things happen with those children. So Friends of Kids with Cancer does a wonderful job of supporting the entire family, not just a patient. Those are 2 of our 5 charitable partners. I want to get the dollars up today. My goal is to raise $10,000 today for the climb. We're already over $20,000 in donations over the last 2 weeks. I want another $10K today. So here's what I've got. And we should do something on the fan page as soon as we're done. I got a suite for the Blues game. Fox Sports, they're great. Fox Sports Midwest, I got a great partnership with them. Told them I need something big for the climb. They gave me their really badass suite for a Blues game. Fully stocked, beer, food, booze, everything you want. So a suite for the St. Louis Blues game. I think there's 14 or 16 tickets in that suite. It's up for grabs, right? And here's what I'm asking. From now, right now, it is, what is it? 8 o'clock. I better stop talking. From now until when I summit, for every $50 that you donate to the Climb for the Kids, you have an entry to win that suite. Donate donate $50, your name goes in the basket once. Donate $500, your name goes in the basket 10 times. You get the idea. For every $50 you donate to one of our charitable partners, your name goes in the basket. When I hit that summit in 11 days from now, April McCoy will take the big basket with everybody's names and all the entries, and she'll do a Facebook Live on the Climb for the Kids Facebook page. She'll pull the winner. You get the suite. Take your friends. Booze. It's all included. Fox Sports has legit one of the best suites in the entire Enterprise Center. It'll be stocked. We won't go skimpy. You're not going to have some bacon wrapped hot dogs and popcorn and Pepsi products. It will be loaded up. So hopefully that's enough to encourage our listeners out there that have always been so loyal to the Climb to visit Climb for the Kids right now. Look at all through the 5 charitable partners we have. Make a $50 donation, get your name in there once. Make a $100 twice, and so forth. Again, all that money goes to these organizations. They need that money. It's tax deductible. It's just the right thing to do. Show your support to our organizations here in St. Louis. Show your support for our 5th annual Climb for the Kids. Donate $50, get your name in once. Donate $5,000. I'll put it in there 100 times. You'll probably win. Let's raise some money today. It's for the kids. theclimbforthekids.com.
God bless America, sir. All right, I'm putting that on the fan page. And Jennings, if there's one thing I know about that fan page, they respond.
They support great causes. They've done it before for you, for me, for Ryan, and they're going to do it again this time for Ryan. It's amazing. And to hear the different things that the various organizations do, not just for the kid, who is the primary thing, but Ryan said, this affects families. And these charities recognize that, and it's a special cause. It's a special cause.